Good morning. This is Laura with another coffee chat, and I'm happy to be here with you. And first of all, I want to thank all the subscribers that have came in this coming week. I think I had about 5 or 6 of you guys, and hey, that's pretty cool. And I wish I would have wrote your guys' names down, but I deeply appreciate you coming in and subscribing and liking, and just share the content as well. That would be great. First of all, okay, so I don't want to really make Coffee Chat or my channel a Star Wars news kind of program or thing, but people want to stay up on top of the news when it comes to Star Wars and the franchise. So I'll offer just bits and pieces. I'm not going to bring up the information and scroll it on the screen, but I will provide the links below now, so you guys can look further into and read into this, some of this stuff that's going on. All right. So I hope you guys grabbed your favorite mug. I'm running a little bit late today. I'm sorry. I've always said, hey, Indian time, that's what's going on. This earring keeps twisting. All right. So my daughter got this for me when she studied abroad. I have 3 kids. Yeah, I have 3 kids. One's a Marine. One is a college student who's studying to become the first Native American woman pilot. She wants to go into commercial piloting. And my youngest is in high school. My girls grew up dancing, well, my kids, and along with me and my husband, grew up dancing at Powell's in our cultural dance. And also my girls grew up dancing at a local dance studio and has been on their dance team competing in various genres like hip-hop, contemporary. Well, not really hip-hop. They're not really hip-hoppers. I was one when I grew up. I danced hip-hop, but they would call it old school hip-hop now. You know, that's the good stuff right there. But they dance contemporary, jazz, lyrical, ballet, on point. And so I'm very proud of my girls and my son. They're Native and they're doing big things, busting stereotypes, creating new friends, and all that. But it's not about them. I just am proud. All right. So let's get back on track here. So my daughter got this for me when she studied abroad in England. She went and studied in London. And you know what? I can't even think of the damn name right now. That's a shame, right? It is morning and I had such a crazy morning, and I'm finally sitting down to record this. I was hoping I'd have this up by now. All right, so let me quit ranting. Okay, so I did do a video about Freddie Prinze Jr. about his little rant about Star Wars fan and how he's an expert of the lore because he knows, or he's quoting George and he's quoting Filoni, and you know what, that's fine. He worked as a voiceover for a cartoon in Rebels, or a Rebels cartoon. That's fine, you know. And the funny thing is that one thing I didn't cover was him saying, well, George said it's for kids. Well, again, when you look back at all the headlines and all the newspapers and all that back in 77 plus, everybody that lined up for that was majority of adults. You did see kids out in there, and so that speaks for itself. So, you know, I let evidence more than anything else. He didn't provide any facts or evidence. He just blurted out with appealing to authority kind of fallacy. You know, that's fine. Actions speak louder than words, you know, and I try to my best to provide that information for you guys. All right, let's deflate from that. Now, another interesting thing is that he came back and was calling fans dildos because we, you know, responded to his rant. Well, if you're going to put out the heat, if you're going to step into the kitchen and you can't stand the heat, then you know what? You need to go sit back down. Fuck that shit. So, sorry. That's how I feel. So don't put out the heat if you can't get it back. That's just like with humor. If you can't tease and joke, or if you tease and joke and you can't take the humor back, then don't do it. My cat wants me. My cat likes to sit on my lap. And you see I'm back. I'm still in my studio. I have my camera at a different angle. Yeah, so I love it in here. All right. So yeah, so he called us dildos for, you know, giving him a hard time And that's kind of ironic, right? He called his dildos for giving him a hard time. I think that's funnier than hell, you know? And so, you know, these dildos are beating him across his face. And I did post that as a little gif on someone's comment on Twitter because I thought it was kind of funny. I look into the funny aspect of all this kind of craziness that's going on. And, you know, so he doesn't like getting beaten hard. All right, I'm done. All right. So let's go on to the before we move on to the lore that I want to talk about, let's go on to the costume article that was posted by fatherly.com, and other YouTubers did go into it a little bit more detailed with the article on screen. Again, I'll post that in the descriptions below, the link. And all I'm going to say about that is they're saying, oh, they shouldn't dress up in Stormtroopers costumes because that's not a good example. Basically, that's Nazi. We don't need our kids to relate to that. This goes back to Freddie's rant. Star Wars is for kids, and then we have people complaining about costumes for kids from Star Wars. It's just such a hypocrisy. All right, I say dress up your kids the way they want to dress up. If they want to be a vampire, they suck blood, they murder people because that's their thing, they want to consume the blood of people, it's just fun, it's escapism, it's lore. If they want to be a stormtrooper, do it. If they want to be a mermaid, do it, you know. So whatever, people just need to get over it, you know. It's quit being hurt by every damn thing. You know, the past is there for us to learn from it, but just because some movies have like glimpses of maybe they mirrored something doesn't mean that the kids are gonna go be, oh, I'm gonna be a Nazi when I grow up. So whatever, it's stupid. My son or my daughters or whatever wanted to be a stormtrooper. If they wanted to be Vader, I'd be like, hell yeah, okay, let's go find the best costume ever. All right, now let's go on to the Millennium Falcon soundtrack here. So the article, I don't remember one of the articles, but I know it's linked to Reddit, you know. And so, you know, Reddit is not, it could be a shady kind of place to get your news from. But, you know, my recent experience is that it proved me right when a book review came out regarding Han Solo's selling Luke's medal for booze. You know, it was a book review. The book was actually out and the person from UK did review it on there. And so, but if it's a movie review or a movie teaser or whatever, I don't, and it's from Reddit, you know, unless it's actually out, I don't believe it, you know. So I'm just like, take it with a grain of salt, you know. All right, so the Millennium Falcon, the soundtrack, someone said that they there's a leak of the soundtrack titles, and you know, one is The Last Ride of the Falcon, or I may have misquoted that, you know, sorry. And so there's a lot of like speculations going on with it, and so I'll just give my take on that. And then also the Lego commercial with the Falcon crashing with one of the newest type TIE fighters. Look like something of Kylo Ren's kind of ship. And then someone also did a close-up of that little cartoon, I won't say cartoon, but that commercial, and it has like, you know, Lando, Chewie, and R2 who are in the wreckage. So did Lego leak something? And then it matches up with that soundtrack title. Now my take is on there, just because the Falcon is at Batu or whatever that place is, or I can care less, I'm not gonna ever go. My kids want to go, I don't. It doesn't mean that they can't still destroy it. You know, they killed Luke, but they're still going to use him anyways. Anakin's not here and Vader's not here, but they're still going to use him anyways. So it doesn't matter. It's still a Star Wars icon. If they have the Millennium Falcon destroyed or wrecked or whatever, they'll still use it. It's brings them money, so it doesn't matter. Really, to them it does not matter, and that's my conclusion. They can care less So if it's destroyed, it's still at Batu Galaxy's Edge at the park. It's still making money. Oh, well, kind of. And I'm not going to go into the park thing because I can care less. I just think it's kind of funny. All right. So let's get on to the lore. And today I wanted to talk about Han Solo because he's been in the news. He's been making the news lately, and he's one of our bad guy, you know, like that rogue, you know, tough guy, gone good kind of guy that a lot of women swooned after when he first came out, and even up until now. And you know, Harrison Ford did age particularly well, you know, so that was, you know, fun to see him on the screen for the time being, and it was very tragic to see him die. But we're not going to go into the Disney lore. We are going into the EU, and I have the trilogy, you know, and I have a lot of books on Audible, and then I have a lot of books, you know, tangible books to read, and I love it. So I recommend the Audibles as well for the series. However, they are abridged, so if you haven't read them, read them first before you get Audible. Audible is amazing because if you're traveling or you're really busy around the house and your life gets busy and you want to get into Star Wars, or you want to listen to Star Wars or read Star Wars, and you want to revisit a book and it's on Audible, get the Audible, put it on, go about your business, listen to it. It's fun. It's a great way to listen to when you're driving. My kids, my youngest, she's like, "You can listen to Star Wars again?" I'm like, "You're listening too." You know, she wants to listen to her music. That's what she doesn't care for Audible books. She'd rather sit and read. She's the kind of person who will go to the library and spend at the library, and I think that's rare nowadays, you know, for hours. So I have the trilogy here, and I have used the trilogy before when talking with people when Solo came out. I did not see the movie. I did see the reviews and all that, and talked with people who've seen it. And I know that, you know, they destroyed his lore, especially with his name and his lineage. So we'll go with that. And again, I hope you're enjoying your favorite cup of coffee, chocolate, whatever you prefer in the morning, your eye opener. I know my father-in-law, when I was in the beginning of my relationship with my husband, he would wake up with his eye opener, and his eye opener was beer. That's just how he was. He's a Vietnam Marine veteran, and he was such a cool guy to talk with. So, and he's now gone, and may he rest in peace, and I will forever love that man because he accepted me wholeheartedly, and so my mother-in-law too. All right, but let's go back to this. All right, so I mentioned in the Disney EU, they changed Han's lineage, so basically how he became a Solo, and I prefer so much more, like 1,000 times, not even 100, 1,000 times more, the original EU lore, now coined Legends. And I recommend buy the Legends books. Buy them with the title. I know we don't like the title, but the title shows, the Legend title shows that this is what we are interested in. And it gives Disney Lucasfilm a consensus of like, oh, they're buying a lot of Legends. They want Legends. And as long as we keep buying, they will keep publishing them. And so let's keep this going. All right. I feel like a mom now. Or a teacher. I taught dance and stuff. All right. So in Disney lore, Han gets the Solo name from enlisting into the Imperial Navy. He's going into the Imperial Navy, though. That's one thing that's consistent, because that's a main part of the lore, because, you know, so that's one thing consistent. That doesn't matter. I don't know. All right. His reasons for going, it's very different, but, you know, all right. So with the original EU, with the Han Solo trilogy, Han Solo, he is taken in by Garrett Shrike when he was orphaned. You know, there was no really great explanation how he became orphaned at such a small age and what happened to his parents. And this all goes back to the Solo surname. And I'm guessing if maybe, possibly, and it's just speculation, if we would have had Legends continued or the buyout never happened, we may have gotten more of a Han Solo or a Solo lineage update. Maybe with Jaina Solo Fell, or maybe it would still remain a mystery on like how exactly what happened with Han Solo when he was a orphaned as a child. So Garrus Strike is the one who took him into his crime circle and of smugglers, and he knew exactly who Han Solo was. So that was basically, Han Solo was basically gold to him because of his lineage, because of his surname, because of who he is. I'm not want to say was because of Disney, but he is, because to me he's still with us. You know, we don't know what happens to him after Crucible, so he's still with us. And you know, eventually when Han tries to decides he wants to leave Shrike and leave the organization to become pursuing piloting and going into the Imperial Navy as a pilot, he finds out his who he is by his caretaker, the Chewie's name, not Chewie, it's not his caretaker, that's his best friend, by a female Wookiee who took care of him. And I am brain farting on that, and I thought I had it written down because I always forget her name. Duella. Oh, Duelana. Okay. And she tells him eventually who he is and his name, so he gets excited about that. And as he leaves the organization, he escapes. You know, tragically, he loses Duelana. She protects him. You know, Wookiees are very honorable, so she protects him and gives her life for him so he can leave. And he escapes, and then he finds his family. He finds Tion Solo and his cousin Thraken Sel Solo. And Thraken Sel Solo ends up being a huge ass to him. He's kind of mental, and if you keep reading into the series all the way into Fate of Legacy of the Force, yeah, you will see how much of a crime warlord. It's like Han and Thraken are night and day. One has a heart of gold, and one is this one who wants to be a ruler and give shit about anybody. So that's an interesting little concept, and especially when they say Thraken looks like Han, like he's like almost a spit image of him in a sense. And so Han finds out some bit of history about how his dad is twin to Tion Solo, and he gets that, but that relationship is tragic, and he flees from there, and he escapes to Ylesia, and there he meets Bria, and he becomes interested in her, and he eventually breaks away with her from there. And I'm not going to try to get too much into the first book. I'm trying to expand this out, so let me go on from there. And they go on some adventures and stuff, and from there, after they part, after he gets her away from that that religious cult place, he listened to the Imperial Navy. And what happens to him in there is that he graduates lieutenant. He's very promising, and from there they're transporting, or Chewie's trying to escape with some young Wookiees, and Han is asked to blast him, and Han won't do it, so he helps rescue him. And they were gonna shoot or blast Chewie. So basically, in short, Han rescues Chewie, and that's when he gets a dishonorable discharge for what he did, you know, because the Empire are xenophobic. And throughout the series, he goes on adventures. He meets other women there. He meets Lando Calrissian. He gets caught up and meets up with Jabba because he needs to find work, and smuggling is the only thing he knows what to do, and it fits him. And he also learns to kind of be hard, so not get too close to people, because he keeps getting people keep turning on him in a sense, especially women. And so you see why he's such a rogue badass in A New Hope, is because he's very cautious. He doesn't trust people until he really gets to know them and they give him a reason, and then he gives himself to them wholeheartedly. And we see that in A New Hope. And even Boba Fett is hired to by the priest of Elysia to kill him, and because Han doesn't believe that these people, these followers basically that are slaves to the priest and that organization, he doesn't believe in slavery. And so that's what makes him have a heart of gold, is he does not believe in slavery. And we do not see that in Solo, as far as I know. I mean, like I said, I've watched the reviews, I talked to people who, I asked the questions with them because I did not want to invest in it. And we also see, you know, we get to see the accounts of Han winning the Millennium Falcon from Lando, which is a good read in there. You know, I don't want to spoil too much. I'm just giving an ultimate, like, quick review of Han Solo's lineage. And we also, that's also in the movies, but the difference is that there's more of a relationship. It's more tangible when you read it in the books and when you see it on the movie. And there's a lot more history between the two when you read it in the books. And Lando, yes, he loves his droids, and you'll see that throughout the EU, but they're not sex toys. I feel so bad for Lando in Disney. I mean, they took something of him and they tried to take it from the EU, and they made it very extreme. They flipped it on its head. And that's what they did with all the characters, is that what they were in George's era of the original EU, they flipped them on the head. It made them the complete opposite of what they were supposed to be, or what they were, and what we've seen evolved from their character. And this book right here leads up, so this is almost like a prequel, especially this book, to A New Hope when it comes to Han. So this is Han's prequel, if that makes sense, because this book leads all the way up to the cantina, and you'll see Lando thinking Han betrayed him. I'm not going to go into details with that. You gotta read the book. And how Han was trying to make things right, how Han got cheated by Bria, and how Bria died, and that frees Han as a man to have no attachments, I guess you could say. And so please read that, or please read the series. I would say you would greatly appreciate the Han in this trilogies rather than the Solo movie. And yes, I am very biased because these books are great, and they flesh out his character in such a better way, such a meaningful way, and you can really get exactly who Han is in the movies and going forward in the original EU. And then you have the Corellian trilogy one, and that goes back to more of him interacting with his cousin again. And then you have Legacy of the Force, where they still interact with Thraken, and but then Thraken also, in those two series of books, he gets to meet his niece, or not his nieces in them, but he gets to meet, you know, Han's kids and stuff, and their reaction about him and how they feel about him. Yeah, so again, book 1, Paradise Snare, the beginning of it. Many people believe that this is the best one in. I believe this is the best one in the trilogy. I love them all because they all have some growth going on in there. one may be more like adventurous than the other, one may be more oh, and if you like the Hutts, if you're intrigued about the Hutts and how they are within their society and in their crime circle and stuff and their smuggling circle, this is a great expansion of that because they are ruthless. And you also see you get a glimpse of Darth Vader in the books too as well. And then, so that's Hutt's Gambit. And then Rebel Dawn. So Rebel Dawn, basically, like I said, it's Han's prequel to the movies. And this really basically says it. Rebel Dawn, yeah. So this is where he begins. He makes his step into a much bigger world as going from smuggler rogue to a respectable man. And Han will use this, I'm respectable now. And so this again is a great story arc. And so if you're interested in Han, and not in the Han and Disney Lucasfilm where he deceives his friends, because like I said, Lando thought Han betrayed him. Han was crushed by that. He's like, no, you're my friend, I did not betray you, I care about you. I'm just exaggerating, okay? So it wasn't that drama. Then we get Han leaving Leia and his son, because his son went to the dark side, instead of trying to figure out how to correct it, like when Jason Solo turned to the dark side. Yeah, he kind of gave up on him and he kind of was very pissed, and he was like, you know what, that's not my son, that Jason's not in there. But he understood the Force much more better too as well. That's why he said that Jason Solo or Darth Caedus, that's not my son anymore, he's not in there anymore. That shows evolution of understanding the Force, because his wife is already a Jedi, his brother-in-law is the Grand Master. Now when you see the Disney Lucasfilm, he may say that's not how the Force works. When it comes to dealing with his son, you could tell he does not understand the Force, because even though he's like, I want to bring you back because your mom wants me to, there's clearly no understanding. It's just like, I mean, many people say that some, like, the prequels is rushed or forced or whatever, and I'm not, no pun intended, and I think that scene was forced, because to me, in Disney Lucasfilm, Han did not clearly understand the Force, the ways of the Force, even though he may have stated that's not how the Force works. So that's my little rant. If you disagree with me, that's fine. And so please share what you like about Han Solo. If you like him in Disney, you like him in the original EU, or kind of a combination of both, please share below. I love sharing the lore. I love sharing what I like about it, and, you know, bits and pieces of it. I try not to reveal too much so that you're excited to read the books. So again, the Han Solo trilogy is a great series to read now that we're seeing his arc further being destroyed, because we know that Han would not do that to his brother-in-law. You know, he was a man of honor, and I think Disney took that honor away from him when they took his name away from him. And yeah, Solo was linked to the first ruler of Corellia, and that family history has such a great legacy in itself, from being rulers to being smugglers, and everything in between. And again, Disney took and flipped it on its head. So this came out a little bit longer, sorry, we're almost up on 30 minutes. But, you know, when you're covering 3 books at a time and in someone's, in Han Solo's lore, it does get a little bit long. I hope you enjoyed the coffee chat this morning. Please like and subscribe, share. Let's get me up to 1,000 subscribers so that we can go live, and then we don't have to worry about, you know, the time frame too much, and I can interact and answer your questions, and we can expand on the lore, compare and contrast with Disney. And you can share what you like about the EU, or even if you're like, I don't know about it, or I'm not sure, or I prefer Disney, you know, it's Star Wars. You know, we share the love of Star Wars, and I don't really particularly care for Disney Lucasfilm. I'm still open to see what's going on, because I love Disney, not Disney. I don't really care for Disney, but Star Wars. Yeah. So, you know, like I said, it doesn't matter. Just no attacking people. I do not tolerate that. You don't want to see me go savage. Yeah, I said that. I get pretty calm. I have to sometimes sit back when I make counter remarks or share facts, like with Freddie Prinze Jr. I made a video on that. So please go watch, like, and subscribe, and see you next Thursday's coffee chat.